Hey everyone, Andy here. So recently I've been lucky enough to try out the PlayStation VR, and there was a Glasgow event that was running for the weekend, and I was able to try out Driveclub VR. Now I'll be going over my first impressions of the good and the bad, and some information that you might want to know as well. So just before going ahead, PlayStation VR is the first sort of VR system that I've ever tried, and I will not be comparing it to the likes of the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, because obviously I've not tried them yet. So let's start off with some of the good points. So first things first, it was very easy to put on and adjust. It's just one clip on the actual visor itself to move it back and forth, and I believe that there's one on the back, and that's just like a quick release. The whole thing is cushioned around the part, so that where it's like the goggles, there's actually a cushion around that sits on your face. It's very nice. And then the rim that actually sits around your head, that's also cushioned as well. Another thing that I have to point out with this is that the weight itself is actually balanced all the way around your head rather than just on the front of your face. And it's to the point that by the end of the demo I was actually forgetting that there was something resting on my head. I could feel the goggles just pushing that little bit with the cushion, but other than that I couldn't really feel anything else. So the demo that I was trying, as I say, was Driveclub. The first impressions of the graphics, I mean, they were great. I mean, I own Driveclub myself, so I was looking out for things that might stand out between the VR version and just the standard PlayStation version, and even when looking into the distance for things like pop-in of foliage and props, and I couldn't see any of that. There was nothing popping in, which is a very good sign. At least they're sort of trying to max out the performance of the PlayStation. The only other thing that stood out against it was the resolution, but I'll come back to that later on in the video when I go over some of the bad points that I need to point out to you. So I tried looking for the screen door effect as well through this demo, and I couldn't see that at all. That there was none of that. And the field of view, I know that some people were saying, oh, it's 100 degrees rather than the 110 of other systems, but I mean, using it without even comparing it to the others, it felt fine. There was no problems with it. I could see what I needed to, and it felt right. And the performance of the system was great. It was rock solid. There wasn't a single frame that was lost. I couldn't notice, and I'm one of these really picky people that I like my 60 frames per second. 30 I'll play with, but you can notice, even dropping from, say, of like 60 frames to 55, I'll notice that. But this, no, you couldn't tell at all. And from what I understand of this game, it runs at 60 frames per second, and through the little processing box it's then bumped up to 120 frames per second. It's trying to like sample more frames, and that gives the impression that it is a higher frame rate. And I did notice it was a lot smoother than 60 FPS. I mean, it could be 90, but it's smooth enough that it feels right. So the next part I'll cover is the head tracking, because I know that that's something that people are a wee bit worried about. So I can confirm that it is 1-to-1. I didn't feel any latency whatsoever, and even the wheel, I was very surprised at this, that was 1-to-1 as well. And considering I've played other racing games with a wheel, and that'll have some latency, even like Gran Turismo, that when you've got the wheel and it's in the game, you'll actually see that there is latency, but in the Driveclub VR there isn't any at all. It's 1-to-1. Now, I was a bit worried before trying this that I would get motion sick, and I got a few laps going as fast as I could, seeing if I could make myself sick. I bumped into a couple of cars, and admittedly by accident I crashed into a wall, but I didn't feel any sickness at all. It felt quite natural. There wasn't any problems. The only sort of thing that's missing is the actual physical G-force that you would normally get, but that's not a problem in this. What you're looking at is enough to convince you that you are moving. It's very strange and it's hard to explain, but I would say if you've ever been on a train or a bus and the one next to you starts moving and you get that feeling of movement, but you know that you're not going anywhere, it's that feeling. It's strange, but you don't get sick from it. But I mean, this could be me. I mean, other people could be sick from that sort of thing anyway, but I would advise you to try out the demo before going to actually make a purchase on one of these systems. Now, as I was mentioning earlier about the resolution, I'm just going to jump back to that. So this is now going to be the bad points. So when I entered the demo, the detail of the load screen, that was fine, and I could read all the text, that wasn't a problem. When it was the gameplay, like when it actually loaded up and I was standing at the side of the track, it seemed to take a bit of a downturn, and I really did notice it. I looked across the rows, the trees were quite distorted, they were very pixelated, and I thought, oh, is my vision okay? But after adjusting it and my eyes did focus, it was the resolution. So I did actually have a word with the staff afterwards, just sort of saying, is that supposed to happen? And they were saying, yeah, that there's actually a problem with the demo. It's not adjusting to the full resolution when it comes to the gameplay, and it would be fixed for the final version. So I mean, I'll give it a bit of leeway there, but I can't really compare it to other sort of demos because I never got a chance to try them out. There was a huge queue, I'll tell you that, and I was quite lucky to even get into the Driveclub VR. Anyway, but also this is my first VR experience, so I can't compare it to any others as well. But another thing I do need to mention is about halfway through, my screen steamed up and I could barely see a thing. And this could be down to several things. I may have had the actual front headset, the goggle section, too close to my head. It might have been too tight. The other thing that it could have been was that the temperature was very cold. I mean, it is Scotland, and this particular demonstration was right next to the entrance of the centre. And with your body being so hot, you'll be sweating because you're moving around a lot, and it takes the energy out of you. It really does. I was shattered after it. But it could also be the material of the actual cushion itself, maybe not letting the air out of the actual goggles, so it just sort of steams up. From what I heard, the other people weren't getting it, but it might have, as I say, it might have been me having maybe a bit too tight. There were problems with the actual demo itself that I did come across. It did keep pausing itself, but I thought I was maybe pressing a button, but apparently they were saying, no, it's a bug in the game, and they had to keep on pausing it. You might actually see that in the video there. But it wasn't too bad. I mean, even then, when they were pausing it and then unpausing it, I didn't feel sick that it was taking the control out. It was taken out of my control. I didn't feel sick from that, which, in a way, I'm quite glad, because then it's a more comfortable experience that you can tolerate more then. So, Valkyrie would be a nice one to try out, but didn't get that one, I'm afraid. Another thing that did go wrong was the fact that the game kept, about halfway through, the game kept on taking screenshots, and there was the little symbol coming out saying, like, you've taken a screenshot, you've taken a screenshot, you've taken a screenshot. And that was taking me out of the experience a little bit, because I was thinking, why have I got this floating icon saying I've taken a picture? Oh wait, no, the system keeps doing it. But I think these things for the demo can be overlooked, because we're looking at a build of the game that's going back to E3, so I mean the game's had a lot of development time since then. Another thing that I need to point out is that I didn't really get the full immersion of the headset, because the headphones that they gave me, unfortunately the right side wasn't working, so I got the sound from the left, and then all I could hear was the people in the background on the right, which was a bit annoying, but I mean, you do with what you've got. And I did mention this to the guy afterwards, so I was saying, look, it's not really working. He says, alright, we'll get that sorted out. So good on him. Hopefully everyone else that's trying it after me will get the full immersion then. But overall, what do I think of PlayStation VR? Well, and will I be getting it? Well, short answer, yes, I'll probably be getting one. The only thing that I hope is that the resolution is better, and that it is a bug with the demo that I tried. But other than that, it's a fantastic system, and I really can't wait to try it again. But as I said earlier, if you're thinking of going and buying one, I really suggest that you try it out in maybe one of the stalls, and find out if VR is the thing for you, because I don't want you going out and buying something and finding out you can't play it because you're sick all the time. Nothing worse than that, so go and try it if you can. That other thing with the whole steaming up, hopefully that was again just maybe me putting it on too tight, or it was the temperature of the room, something like that. But overall, it's a great experience. It really takes the energy out of you, and I really do encourage you to go and try it out as soon as you can. Anyway, that's all from me, guys. If you want to give me a question, leave it down in the comments below. I'll be happy to try and answer many as possible, but answer anything. No question's a silly question when it comes to VR. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.